Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to the Heidi St. John podcast. Today, you guys are in for a particular treat. My friend, Dr. Mark Sherwood, is joining me back on the show. Over the years, this has become one of the most requested shows that I do here at the podcast, which is saying a lot because I've recorded coming up on 2,000 episodes. And Dr. Mark Sherwood and his wife, Michelle, have become not only doctors to me, but also friends. And they really are a deal in hope. And as you guys are familiar now, this podcast is being sponsored by Doctors Mark and Michelle Sherwood and the Functional Medical Institute. And today we're going to spend the entire episode answering listener questions. Stick around. I think you're going to be encouraged. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. Dr. Mark Sherwood, welcome back.
Hey, it's good to see you. I so appreciate what you do, and it's an honor to be a sponsor of your show. It's one of the greatest experiences we've had. Get to go up and see all your facilities firsthand in person. It was amazing.
Well, we loved having you here, and we were just saying a few minutes ago off air. It's fun for me now that you've been sitting in the studio with me, and you kind of have a feel of what we're doing around here to continue recording the show. It's kind of taking it to a new level.
I love your new studio. I think it's great, and I think everything about it has got a great vibe. It's got a great feel. The color scheme is awesome, and people that haven't been there in person, haven't seen what you do, they're missing out on a big treat.
Well, thank you. And we're going to continue, you and I, just with all these recordings. I think, well, you just heard me do the intro to the show. This has become, it has become the most downloaded, requested days that I do here are the days that you and I answer listener questions. And we have so many of them today that we're not going to get through all of them. But you're going to come back. We'll do it again. Yep. I'm just going to jump right in. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, rock and roll. Here we go. This is an anonymous listener. Dr. Mark, can anything be done to treat bipolar II disorder with functional medicine? If so, what recommendations do you have? Prayers for my husband would be so deeply appreciated.
Well, the answer is yes. There's a lot you can do about it, and that's going to be different than what you're told, because today in our world, there's so many of these disorders that are diagnosed, and it sort of has become an epidemic all its own. You know, the diagnostic codes of mental disorders, you've got a name for everything, a syndrome for everything, and it's so bad right now that people don't understand this negative side of this is when you get the diagnosis that follows you for the rest of your days, no matter what you do. And then you're on a concoction of medications that they're quote unquote trying. And these medications, they're not certain of the metabolism speed of that. Therefore, some break down quicker, some break down slower, and you don't know what works. And that makes it even more concerning. Most people with any kind of mental, I'm not going to use the word disorder. I'm going to call it imbalance. There's an imbalance because they don't have enough proper harmonious balance, if you will, of serotonin and dopamine, those two main neurotransmitters we hear about, right? Most people in that case have some kind of genetic dysfunction in the methylation area. I know I'm getting a little bit heady here for you, but just that is a biochemical action that takes place in every cell of the body. And those enzymes within that pathway are driven and made by your own personal genetics. So when you know your own personal genetics in an area, you can actually do a lot about it, because you can add a little more B vitamins, a little bit more natural lithium products, natural magnesium products, a lot of adaptogenic herbs like ashwagandha, rhodiola, and there's a lot of things you can do. And the last thing I'll say in a lengthy answer with this one is that in a situation like this, as a Christian person, I'm going to throw a little perception wrench in here. You want to start thinking about things different, and don't allow yourself to be known or renamed bipolar. Don't accept that, because that will identify you as that. Instead of my name's Mark, I'm now bipolar, if you get my drift. I'm not minimizing the process. I'm not minimizing the symptoms. But I'm saying we've got to not own it, because if you own it, it will own you.
Boy, I think that's so good. Lisa and I were running errands yesterday, and we were talking a little bit about the mental health crisis in this country, which really mental health issues are ubiquitous. I mean, in Western civilization for sure, and there still is Not as much as there used to be, but there still is a bit of a stigma. People still kind of having a hard time talking about it. And I think that the more we normalize these conversations and we say just exactly what you said, don't wear the label.
No.
Because there's help and there's healing. And that's really what you want people to hear, right? Is that healing is available and we don't need to own these things. They don't have to drag us down. We can actually look for a positivity, if you will, come out of it in the future. Remember a long time ago, I was talking to you about my struggle with anxiety.
Yeah.
And I mean, they had me on every medication known to man. I tried them all. And the Lord has set me free from all of those years, right? I haven't been on an anxiety medicine now in probably 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
And it took a long time. And sometimes it takes a while, but we don't want people to get discouraged and give up or just see, hey, this is my future. This is all that there is.
Yeah. And even, you and I are friends, but I can tell you if I would have heard you saying repeatedly, I'm so anxious, I have so much anxiety. This is what I would have said. Okay, Heidi, you may be feeling some real things like that, but let's be cautious with the words.
Yeah.
Because the words will create. And you see that happen so many times. And my personal opinion about the mental health crisis, it has been capitalized on and prophetized on so much so today that it's a business all on its own. And I that makes me grieve for our society right there.
Mm-hmm. Man, me too. So many things. Anonymous in Iowa, she says, first, I have a 12-year-old son who suffers from OCD and intrusive thoughts. Apart from having him see a Christian counselor, what can we do to help him? Could there be nutritional gaps, supplements he needs, possible foods he should avoid? My next question is for my older son, and I'm going to get back to that in a second. So let's deal with the first part.
Yeah, when you're talking about these, again, back to that same discussion we just had, the disorder portion. You've got to get nutrition in the children. Nutrition is what the body runs on as opposed to calories. So we've got to eliminate that calorie conversation and start bringing up or maximizing the nutrient conversation. So high nutrient dense foods as opposed to high calorie, low nutrient dense foods is number one. Number two, the main thing you want to do is you want to have the D vitamin up there, and with their 12-year-old, probably 5,000 IUs would probably be very, very safe. You want to get the omega-3s in there because those will tone down the inflammation in the body and the brain. And then good methylated B vitamins, methylated being the key, not cheap stuff, and magnesium. Again, magnesium is known as the great relaxer. So these things, those 4 nutrients plus good nutrition, and I believe you will see some hope. Literally,
that's
hope
what we need
in life. I believe so.
Yep, that's what we need. She says her older son has terrible acne on his face, his chest, and his back. What can we do to eliminate it? We'd like to try natural solutions.
Yeah, now with that one, you want to sort of got to clean up the diet. Anytime you have skin disorders, and probably around the age of puberty and beyond, with the hormones raging and stuff like that, obviously the body will try to detoxify things, and that's what happens with a lot of these acne issues. So you want to clean up the diet. Specifically on that one, watch the gluten and grains. Gluten and grains I see is a big old trigger right there along with sugars. So the common sense stuff, anything the government subsidize, probably don't eat it. That'd be a good way to start.
It's true. Anything that'll preach, man. You need a T-shirt. Anything the government subsidizes, probably we shouldn't be eating it.
Don't take their financial advice either. There you go.
Come on. Anonymous in Missouri says that her husband was sick with what they assume was COVID almost a year ago. Ever since, he has suffered with major erectile dysfunction. We've never had this problem before. We haven't gone to see a doctor because we just don't want them to throw a little blue pill at it. What would you suggest?
Well, anytime, this is from Missouri, anytime, Anonymous from Missouri, you have anything that involves the circulatory system. Remember, the penis, as well as the feet, the toes, the brain, are at the end of the circulatory system. So it is wisdom to find someone that you trust, not just a doctor that's going to throw a pill. That's a legalized drug dealer. That's not a doctor, just so you know. FYI, there's a difference. Who's going to run a good cardiovascular screen on him to make sure his blood is not getting too sticky. It's not impaired and impeded. There's that you can do. And then clean up the diet again. I feel like a broken record on that. But we deal with that, many, many times per week around here. I'd say probably 10 times per week with men. And there are a lot of things you can do. Sometimes pills like Viagra, Cialis, compounded sildenafil, tadalafil do help. And if given in the right dosage, at the right system, in the right context, those can also be beneficial as well. So there is a benefit to those things, but all the rest of the stuff needs to be looked at along with that.
Yeah, so you're saying it's got to be more than just the little blue pill. They've got to look
100%.
at the yeah. So good. Jessie in Michigan, this is also related to COVID. She says, in December of 2021, my husband was hospitalized with COVID for 10 days. Ever since then, his immune system hasn't been the same. Every time he gets sick, it's an ordeal. In the summer of 2024, we took him to the ER. He was diagnosed with strep and pneumonia, and he's really sick again now. We're guessing it's COVID again or influenza. Is there anything we can do to prevent him from getting sick or from getting sick this badly?
Yeah, Jesse, we've been seeing this quite a bit because, we knew that COVID was not going to end when it ended. We knew that was the beginning of another beginning. And we're starting to see another beginning right now because what we're seeing is the immune systems of people are getting compromised over the course of time. So this is what we did last week, the situation just like this. We used a little bit of methylene blue. I know it's a new little term for most people out there. We used, I think it was 20 milligram caps every day. We put the person on some molecular hydrogen inhalation. I've got my little bottle here, at least do the consumption of that, right? That you can drink it, but you can also breathe it through a cannula. So we put them on that. We put them on some glutathione, and then we put them on a peptide called thymosin alpha 1. Thymosin alpha 1. And it was a few months, but the person got all their senses back, their functioning back.
Wow.
It was a pretty good party in the office here that day.
Wow, that's amazing. She's saying that also when he gets sick, he's got trouble sleeping, and it's had a snowball effect. And she says now he can't relax at all. He's almost 33, so really young. She says he's overweight, pretty inactive, trying to encourage changes in both those areas.
Yeah, and it's a backward spiral, or as I like to say in my old country or origin roots, it's like a post hole digger digging down farther, and all you're going to hit's dirt. You're going farther down the hole and getting farther away from the light, and this is where it is right now. With this person, I think there's a lot of hope there, but you got to start making some incremental changes back in the other direction. Getting more active, getting some weight off. That could help it just itself improve the anxiety with body image, things like that, because you don't feel good when you don't feel good, and I think people need to know that that's okay and it's very reasonable.
Yep, I agree. And you and I talking before, but just how important it is just go outside and take a walk every day. Like a day shouldn't be going by when you're not getting outside, breathing some fresh air, taking a walk.
The only day that you shouldn't move or exercise is the day you're dead. And I've said this before, and I really mean this. This is not, movement is life. Lack of movement is rigor mortis. Keep that in mind as we go forward. And there is no excuses. And in this case, this is really interesting, with this person. They may not even want to may not even be able to walk around the block, but they might be able to walk the mailbox and back. Let's celebrate those small victories like that and just keep, and walk with them, encourage them, Person's been through a lot, so they need someone to lift them up.
Yep, I agree. Good. Jessica in California says, Dr. Mark, I sprained my left ankle over a half a dozen times while playing sports as a child. Now I'm 43. Wah, wah. I know where this is going. That old ankle injury keeps flaring up. In particular, 3 to 4 days before my period starts, it hurts really badly. Because of the pain, I can't sleep. It pulses from my ankle to my knee. And then as soon as my period starts, the ankle pain stops. I'm assuming this is happening because of hormones. What in the world's going on?
All right, so here's the deal, Jessica. We need to check your hormones because now you're not old, so don't go there, right? So, so you got a lot of life to live, sister, so it's all fine. We want to check your hormones because most likely you're going downward in a progression of progesterone and downward in a progression of testosterone, which continues to throw an imbalance out there. Now, you have laxity in your ligaments, which means that they need a little bit of tightening up. So one step for you is get your hormones checked. 2, I want you to start BPC 157 peptide. BPC 157. That will heal those ligaments and help them tighten back up again. That is wonderful to use. And then at the same time, you're going to tone down the inflammation with omega-3 fatty acids. And my favorite right now that I have been using most is called Biomega 1000. And then I like to do that in the morning, dose of 3. Then I like to go in the evening, dose of 2, with something called SPM, which stands for Specialized Pro-Resolving Mediators. That's why it's SPM. It's easier to pronounce. Supreme, and you're going to take 2 of those. That combination right there will give you some good insight from the hormonal standpoint, get those back to balance or back those to harmonious synchronicity, and then get back here, get those 3 things on board, and you should be good.
Okay, so one thing I learned pretty early on with you, my friend, is that you and your wife, your lovely wife, have such an amazing working knowledge of this stuff. Like this BPC 157, most of us are like, our heads are exploding. We're like, what in the world? I want to encourage people to do what I've been doing, and Melissa does too. Melissa sees you guys too, and that is to actually make an appointment to get to know you guys, and really, because a lot of the stuff you can walk them through. You guys can help people get these prescriptions if they're necessary, that kind of thing. How does it work at the Functional Medical Institute? So I travel, as you well know, all over the place, and everywhere I go, dude, people are like, how do I meet this amazing, Dr. Mark and Michelle? I want to talk people through that a little bit, because I know that there are people listening to this who would really benefit from doing what I've been doing, what Melissa's doing, and that is to actually contact you guys.
Yeah, there's really 2 ways to get into the process. One way, we have every single month on the 2nd Tuesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. Central, we host a free webinar. And I did say free, so nobody pays for that. And then from that webinar, people can ask us questions in the chat bar. The purpose behind that is I don't want anyone spending any money on someone they've never met or don't know. I think that's always bad business, and so you're talking about a partnership here you're getting into. Why would you want to get a partnership with somebody you don't know, right? And so you can schedule appointments through that, and people can register right there on the website to attend those webinars. The second way, if you are a current patient and you are part of our community, and you have like a brother or sister or a family or member, then they've been hearing you talk about this thing for a long, long time. You have ways to contact us. You can introduce them straight to us, and we work the system that way. So that's 2 different ways. We are able to help people around the country, no problem at all. We are licensed in nearly every state, but at the same time, because of the beauty of this kind of technology, we have the ability to bring people into our office from anywhere.
Yeah, and that's been true for me. It's no secret to the people who listen to the show that it was, I think, 2 years ago. Yeah. I did a hormone panel with you guys, and you put me on testosterone. I was like, what? I don't want to grow a mustache. And you were like, no, believe me, you'll sleep better. And I did. Yeah. And you were able to send that to a compounding pharmacy right here in my neck of the woods, and all I had to do was go down and pick it up.
Yeah, super easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the time. Remember, I told you that took like 60,000 vials of my blood, and I thought maybe I would die from it. But look, here I am.
When the blood work is very robust, let's just say.
Yes.
It's not 60,000 vials, by the way, folks. She's being a little exaggerative right there. Tiny. It's probably about 8, though. No kidding. It's 7 or 8. I'm just being truthful with you there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was a lot. I mean, I think it was more than that, but whatever. We'll argue about it later. All right. Anonymous in Colorado has a question for you. She says she suffered a miscarriage for the first time at 42 years of age at the beginning of this year. She says she's thankful that she didn't have any major complications, but she's starting to feel the effects of hormonal changes and having some scary lows and signs of depression. What are some natural remedies that could help?
Well, at 42, you're getting in an area of time where a lot of ladies are starting to experience this perimenopausal symptomatology. And remember this, and ladies know this really well, the first trimester, the progesterone, which is for progestation, for protection of that brand new baby, it has to be robust. It's carried by the production of the progesterone from the ovaries, and after that it transfers to the placenta. So you got to make sure your thyroid's up to snuff. You got to make sure your progesterone's up to snuff, especially as you get into those upper 30s, low 40s time frames. So that's going to be a target for you. Make sure those things are adequate and optimized, and you take good care of yourself. We believe that a person can effectively have a child at that age.
I want to take a moment to say thank you to our sponsor today. Today's show is being sponsored in part by my friends at Give, Send, Go. And it's a pretty amazing partnership because months ago, before I received my medical diagnosis, we had been hoping to partner with this amazing company. And I had no idea that I was going to be on the receiving end of a Give, Send, Go campaign. But I can tell you it's been an incredible blessing for me. And I love what these guys are doing. They are really crowdfunding with a gospel message and sharing the light of Christ and helping us fulfill the mandate in Galatians 6:2, where we are really commanded to bear one another's burdens and in so doing fulfill the law of Christ. One of the things that's awesome about Give, Send, Go is that they have a prayer team that you can join and pray for the campaigns that you see online. So even if you can't give right now, you can pray. There is power in your prayers, and I love what the Lord is doing through the platform at Give, Send, Go. Check them out at givesendgo.com. Yeah. And I had a baby at 41.
Yeah.
And actually a lot of my friends have had babies into their 40s. And so I agree with you. It's nothing to be, but also, it's nothing to sneeze at, but also you are. I mean, your hormones are changing. Absolutely. That's absolutely true. We've got another listener with in her 40s, Jennifer in Indiana, and she's 43, and she's starting to notice sleep changes. She says she's pretty sure it's time for a new mattress. She says, I can't fall asleep in bed. My husband tosses a few times at the beginning of the night, but overall is a good sleeper. I get frustrated while lying in bed for up to an hour each night. This part of me, listen, I mean, I'm going to go on with her question, but can I just say, I feel like men have like the spiritual gift of falling asleep.
Yeah, they do.
Generally speaking, and women are like thinking about all the things. I mean, this is almost universally true in my marriage. It has been for, 35 years where Jay, not always, but usually Jay's the one who's like, I think I'll go to sleep now. And he just goes to sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you do that? But she says she's tried, magnesium and it makes her relax, but she still can't fall asleep. Could it be hormone changes? She's at a loss.
Well, Jennifer, first of all, I echo what Katie. I echo what what Heidi said, because ultimately men have the gift of making noise when they sleep too. That's called snoring, right? Which is not cool. But men do go to sleep quicker like that. It's just the way we're wired, I guess, probably. But what we need to understand with your situation, Jennifer, is the idea that you are in that window of time where hormones, like I just mentioned in the previous question with progesterone, they do tend to go down a little bit. And there are times at this age that will bring in about 50 milligrams of a bioidentical progesterone, and that is what turns out the lights like a sweet-sounding lullaby. I've seen that so many times before. And don't be afraid of melatonin. A lot of people get weirded out about that, but ultimately, melatonin is a great little hormone you can take.
Didn't you say we needed it? Like as we get older, I'm pretty sure you were the reason I started taking melatonin.
Yeah,
it actually really helps me. I take it almost every night about an hour before I think I'm going to go to sleep, and I think it's really helped.
Melatonin is produced less as we age because the little gland that sort of senses the light change in the evening time from daylight towards that evening dusk dark transition is called the pineal gland. Well, that pineal gland starts to begin to atrophy. It gets smaller as we age, and we don't sense that light as well. And plus we have all these blue lights and white lights around, which kind of destroy our sleep curtain as well, or our transition. So melatonin is an antioxidant. It is anti-inflammatory. And believe it or not, there are cancer patients out there that are treated in the non-conventional ways, let's say, that are given 50 milligrams twice a day. So it's really a good little hormone. It's not going to hurt you. So Jennifer, do both of those things. You might increase your magnesium a little bit and use the right form, magnesium glycinate or magnesium threonate at night, between 300 and 450 milligrams, and that will help as well.
Yeah, she don't want to take too much of that. Am
I right?
You
take too much, man. Jennifer, you'll be getting up in the night, and it won't be just to stretch your legs. So just let your imagination go there.
That's so true. Sarah in Wisconsin says, hi, Dr. Mark. I'm 34. We have 6 kiddos, ages 14 down to 6. We try to eat pretty clean. After my 6th kiddo, I began to gain weight. The scale just keeps climbing. It seems to be mostly in my belly. I've tried intermittent fasting, but I didn't feel good, and it didn't seem to help. What do you suggest?
Well, Sarah, first of all, congratulations on having a basketball team plus one substitute.
I think that's amazing. Absolutely. Yes, I agree.
What an incredible family, and I just really pray God's blessing over you. That's outstanding. Honestly, ladies go through this. They tend to not get the weight off as an average more than they get the weight off as they have more kids. The body goes through a lot when you're pregnant. And if you're 34 right now, I've had 6, I would submit the majority of your life you've probably been pregnant, right?
Yeah,
so
you're right.
That is challenging. You're talking to somebody in Heidi who's been there, done that, man. She got you by one, sister, right? And so, the whole thing about this is though you want to really go back to, and I wouldn't try a diet. What I would recommend in this case, if you were working with us, I would say, here's an anti-inflammatory food plan. And it would be like eliminating the things, well, I'll say it one more time, eliminating the things that the government subsidizes.
Yep.
And then just eat those things until your heart's content. Don't get into the diet mentality, because if you do, it can get into your head, and that scale can become an enemy. So I'd say just really get into the anti-inflammatory eating. Fruits, vegetables, good clean proteins, good solid fats, not hydrogenated or fats like that, and not burned seed oils. But
yeah, watch out for the seed oils.
Yeah, they're terrible. So you do all that, and I think you're going to get that weight off, and then move every day, man. Get those kids out there and walk around and enjoy the wonderful sunshine right there in Wisconsin.
I love it. Vic in Iowa, Dr. Mark, both my wife and I listen regularly, and we've heard you mention both magnesium glycinate and magnesium chelate. What is the difference, and what should 2 healthy mid-40s parents use, and how much? I love, Dr. Mark, that there's so many guys listening to this show now.
Yeah, me too.
Lots more than we used to have, and I love that. So thank you, Vic, for writing in.
Vic, you are a hero, man. Way to step up there, dude. Honestly, I appreciate that. When you look at magnesium glycinate, it's magnesium the word chelate means to claw. It means it's bound to glycine, or the amino acid glycine. So when a terminology is used, magnesium glycinate, it means magnesium and glycine are bound together. Magnesium chelate means it's clawed to something. Magnesium chelate does not tell you which amino acid it's bound to. My personal favorite that would be one that I would recommend for both you and your wife would be magnesium glycinate chelate, or a magnesium glycinate complex. Those are one and the same, and you would want to take one of those in the morning, which is 150 milligrams, and 2 before bed, which is 300, totaling 450 for the day. And it's been my experience and my wife's experience that that's a very safe dose to take pretty much for everybody.
What is the benefit, Mark, of taking magnesium glycinate?
Well, magnesium glycinate is sort of this all-purpose one. Like you got magnesium citrate, which we've heard of. Mm-hmm. It's bound to the citric, we know that, and it's going to help us dump the bowel. So that's a thing that's going to really deal with constipation. When you look at magnesium malate, which is bound to malic acid, that's going to give us more energy. So that'd be one maybe taken more in the morning. Magnesium glycinate is more kind of in the middle. I look at it as my all-around utility. It's my utility club in my golf bag. It kind of does a little bit of everything, and it's one that can really help create energy, help give you relaxation in its different pathways at the same time. And then you go down the pathway a little bit more. You can go with magnesium threonate, which can cross the blood-brain barrier and kind of causes brain relaxation.
Really? That's interesting. So like someone who can't turn their brain off at night.
Yes. We'll use magnesium threonate, and that will cross here, and it will cause the brain just to kind of calm down and take the foot off the gas pedal of thoughts, if you will.
I love that. Thomas in Tennessee. Dr. Mark, what supplement brand or where can I find methylated B vitamins and the omega shakes for my wife and toddler?
All right, so another male, Thomas. You're not doubting.
I know, I love it.
No doubting, Thomas. This is the real Thomas in Tennessee.
That was a dad joke there, Mark.
I know, man.
Pull back.
There you go. So, Thomas, what I think you should do is, I like B Supreme. B Supreme. It's a methylated B vitamin. It's actually right on our website. You can grab that if you want to. And then also, and that's one little capsule a day. That'd be great for all of you. And then on the omegas, what I like for a liquid is I like Omega 1700. Omega 1700. If you're going to do liquid, but if you're going to do the gel caps, I like Bio-Omega 1000, and the dose is 3 on those, or 3 grams on the liquid. 3 grams of Omega, and one of the methylated Bs, which is B Supreme. That should work well.
All right. Jody in Ohio, she says she's been on Protonics for almost 10 years due to a hiatal hernia with reflux. I'd like to get off and do something more natural, but I'm nervous about rebounding reflux. Also, I've tried before and suffered tremendously. Any help would be appreciated.
Yeah, Jody, this is a hard one. If you've been on those acid blockers for a while, and I'm not saying that was wrong with the hiatal hernia because you're going to feel that burn there, no question about it. So, but you want to transition slowly. If you stop that Protonics, which I know you probably know, but just for our listeners, it's like pulling the cap off of a well with a bunch of pressure built up. It's going to cause this massive rebound, and you're going to get this massive flood of acid and make it worse, and it could make the hiatal hernia in a worse situation. So what we like to do, and this is going to sound really funny to you, we use melatonin, believe it or not, as a buffer to get us off, along with a soother called GI Revive. So we use both of those things. GI Revive, it comes in the guts, the powder, and then we use a little melatonin to take because those can work really well to sort of calm down the system. And you want to set a timeline out there, probably about, 10, 12 weeks at least, and start, 1 day a week, go with a half a dose that you normally take on 1 day. And then go back to full dose the next day. And you got to be so deliberate with that and so slow, it's almost going to make you feel like you're crawling, but that's the right way to do it. And over the course of time, you can withdraw that very easily and bring back in the soothing and normal reaction of the acid progression from your stomach.
All right. So you're telling her it's not hopeless.
No, it's never hopeless.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I love that. Andrea in Washington. Woo woo. My homegirl, Andrea. She says, I got a question for Dr. Mark, and she wants to how concerned should they actually be when finding mold in their home? We live in a rental. Doesn't look like having a mold infestation is going to be taken care of professionally. She has asthma. She said, I began taking SSRIs from a pretty significant rise in anxiety and depression 3 months after moving in. Some people say I should move, trash all the belongings, and detox, while others say I should slap some Clorox on it and forget about it. It's quite a large infestation. Not sure how worried I should be.
Well, so there's two different things to be concerned about here. When you look at this whole idea, Andrea, is one, when you clean the mold, you will release the mold spores. Those are called mycotoxins, and those are the ones that you breathe. So cleaning it can become a negative sometimes. I'm not saying it does every time, it does sometimes. Secondly, since you're in a rental home, there's a lot of unknowns there because you didn't buy the home with an inspection kind of concept there. It wasn't tested ahead of time. What I would do in this case, because your symptoms of anxiety started there, which can be a sign of mold toxicity, I would get yourself and every member of your family tested for mold to see if A, there's mold that's in you and trying to come out, and B, what type it is. And that'll give you some idea as to what you're looking at from yourself. And then if you start getting that out of your system, maybe it will clean up enough to get your system working well. And at some point in time, we've got to cross the bridge. This is the elephant in the room, so to speak. And you have to ask the owner of the property to allow maybe a mold test of the property, and a company can come out and do that. Now that's a double-edged sword there, I'm telling you, Andrea, because they're not going to want to do it most likely, because if they do it and it's positive, well, you got to move and nobody can be in there. So that's a money issue.
Yeah, and then she's really kind of up with her back against a wall. I would encourage you to, we've dealt with this over the years, and I think it's more common in places like the Pacific Northwest, which obviously this is where Andrea is from. And some counsel was given to me, and I'd actually like to hear what you have to say about this, Mark. But yeah. I had heard from a friend of mine who struggled with this. She said they did the best they could, and then she realized that she was allowing her head, like she was thinking about it so much that it became almost like a obsessive compulsive. Like she couldn't stop thinking about it, couldn't get her head and her heart under control. And she felt like she made it even worse just because of the constant thinking about it that she did. And I wondered if you think that could sometimes play into it.
I do. Our whole system of, I'll use this air quotes, healthcare is spent on what is wrong. We're always looking forward, talking about broadcasting. We're inundated with pharmaceutical commercials talking about how to treat what is wrong. So our whole system is spinning around about what is wrong. This is true, and we see mold a lot. We do. But there are more people, most people in America have been exposed to mold, and most people don't get sick by mold. Just yet, that's a straight up statement right there. Sometimes there are people that do, but it is not the majority. And the better one takes care of themselves, the better the systems of the body takes care of you. One of the systems of the body that operates 24/7 is our surveillance system, which is our immune system, as well as our detox system, which takes toxins that we get exposed to, transforms them to a form that can be eliminated, and then they're out the back door or the front door, as whatever the case may be.
Yep, I agree. And it's so important to keep our head in that healthy space and not become the person who's, afraid of every little, and we talked about this a long time ago, right? You can see it's sort of it's the same as the Christian who sees the devil behind every bush, and we want to caution you just to be, guard your heart really and your mind as well. Crystal in Alaska wants to know if you've got any recommendations for a POTS diagnosis in her 13-year-old daughter. Lots of medical professionals have seen her, ear specialist, cardiologist, functional medicine. We're working on her hormones, which are abnormal, but her heart rate is so high so often, and it's been progressively getting worse over the last 2 years. Supposedly it's caused by a post-infection. We're weary of so many people trying different ideas with no relief from her symptoms. Really worrying it's wearing her heart out while she's young. She goes on and on. You can see the question there. What have you got to say?
Well, honestly, with Crystal, deep compassion on you, my friend, as you're going through this, because I know you're probably frustrated and tired, and I'm really glad and honored that you didn't ask that question. I'm curious about the hormones at the 13-year-old. What does that mean? I'm not sure, but this is what we've done with POTS persons, and this has been a beneficial additive 100% of the time. And it's going to sound so overly simple because I say it all the time, but it is necessary. If you don't get this part right, nothing's going to work. You want to get that nutrition right. You just got to get it right. And you got to get those inflammatory foods off of that young system. And that young system is very adaptable to bounce back. Then you want to go back and look at the D, the omegas, the B, the magnesium, because all these things matter. And many times POTS is triggered by some kind of infection. We see that a lot. So how do we strengthen the immune system? Remember, the immune system and all systems of the body run on nutrients accumulation at the cell level. So what did I just say? Everything I just talked about is putting nutrients at the cell level so the body can operate efficiently. So it may sound oversimplistic, but sometimes you go back to the basics. And Crystal, I think you're going to see some really good turnaround. And if you start going where you major in the minors instead of majoring the majors, that gets us in trouble.
Yep. So good. I got one last question for you. A listener had written in some time ago asking about the use of ivermectin ongoing as a sort of a preventative or prophylactic. What's your thoughts on ivermectin?
I've looked at that a lot, and we've used it in here a lot on people that, upon request. I've looked at studies, and I've seen studies that are kind of all over the board, but I think all studies today, just so people know, I think they're kind of rigged anyway because they're all sort of preconceived.
Yeah, somebody paid for it.
Yeah, they're all biased, folks. So the way I look at it, could ivermectin be helpful? Sure. I have not seen much negative data on it, meaning I've not seen anything that causes negative actions, even from the biased studies. So I think that gives me good comfort to say there's some safety factor there. I don't see a problem with it at all. I think a lot of people that I know probably use that. We've done it a couple times. And back to what you said earlier, except flipping the script around on it, if someone thinks it works and they believe it works, it just might work. And so, I'm okay with that. We know there's such a thing as nocebo and placebo, and so those things really do matter. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying, but if the belief system is there, you're going to have a good chance that it's going to do something positive.
Yeah, so important. And again, you guys, you've heard Dr. Mark saying this for a long time, and me too. It's your life. You got to take responsibility. You got to show up for it. You're not going to things aren't going to come to you. You're going to have to work for it. And you missed it the other day, my friend, but I just went on a rant on my podcast because I feel sometimes like we really do live in a very lazy culture. And it seems to me like opportunity often wearing overalls and looks an awful lot like work.
Yeah, I'm big on that too. Even with the idea of health, life, goals, dreams, whatever it is, you got to go out there and grab it, man. I mean, you got to go get it. You got to march for it. You got to fight for it. You got to go through brick walls to get it. You got to be willing to go sacrifice to go get it. Nothing's free. The only thing I know that's free is grace. And the thing with free grace that we get, the free grace I take as an opportunity to do exactly what I said in life, because I look at the life of Jesus, Heidi, and that dude, he didn't have an easy time, man. He was fasting for 40 days. Everybody's trying to kill him. I mean, what kind of life is that?
Right.
But that dude went all the way to the cross for me and for you and for everybody listening. And I'm like, awesome. If he can do that, he put that same thing in me, then I can do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. And I think you guys, both of you, you and Michelle have been such an encouragement to me over the years now. And I know thousands of people are so encouraged by your willingness to come on here and just be kind of the Heidi St. John show physician.
No, I mean,
and I really appreciate it.
Gosh, we're honored. I mean, we work hard every day, and people need to know that we weren't born with a silver spoon. We're still learning all the time. I learn every time I'm answering questions. I learn from you. I learn from everybody else, and we all get like that. We're just doing the giftings that we have to benefit our fellow man, I believe.
Yep, I agree. So one more time, if people are interested in reaching out to you, the best place to go is homeschoolhealth.com, which, by the way, nice job on that website, dude. I went over there. Right. I checked it out.
It looks awesome. Yeah, go right there, and you're going to see some of our favorite stuff that we've worked together on, and you see that. The
hydrogen water bottle, and you've got yours right there. Mine is sitting actually right over there. I brought it in this morning. I had a question for you about the hydrogen. Yeah. Okay, so I had a guest in my studio this morning, and she was watching me, with my water bottle, and it was bubbling up, and I actually did like 3 of them, and I put them in my mug. And she asked if when you take the water from the hydrogen bottle and you pour it into a cup, are you going to lose the benefit of it? Does it dissipate?
Nope, it doesn't, because think about it like a carbonated liquid. If you take something from a carbonated liquid bottle and put it into a cup, the carbonation stays with it.
Right.
The hydrogenation would stay with this. And so it's the same amount of time you have to drink it, probably 20 minutes or so is what you've got before it sort of dissipates out. But most people drink most of it in 20 minutes, and that stuff is amazing. And then Kingdom Skin, which is right here. People,
I love it. I love that stuff. Yes.
That's on the website too, and everybody likes that. So there's some cool stuff there, and that's a great site.
I love it. Homeschoolhealth.com. Dr. Mark Sherwood, you are a national treasure, such a dear friend of mine, and I so appreciate you and your beautiful wife, Michelle. Thanks for hanging out with me today. It's just been awesome. Let's do it again. We got all kinds of questions coming in, so let's do it again.
Can't wait. I sure appreciate and love both of you guys, and thanks for all you do.
Thank you, my friend. Back at you. If you guys want more information on my guest today, go to homeschoolhealth.com. And if you've got questions that you would like to submit to Dr. Mark Sherwood, the way to do that is to go to HeidiSt.John.com/Mailbox Monday. That's HeidiSt.John.com/Mailbox Monday. I hope you guys will check out the amazing work that Drs. Mark and Michelle are doing by going to homeschoolhealth.com. We love you guys. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and get out there, you guys. It's your life. Show up for it. And we'll see you right back here again at the intersection of faith and culture. Parents of teens, listen up, because I have found an awesome Bible discipleship program that I think you're going to love. If you want your teens to own their faith instead of just regurgitating Bible facts, you need to know about RVL Discipleship, the curriculum. It's a powerful new curriculum that's been designed for homeschooled teens from our friends at Focus on the Family. Each lesson is taught by awesome Bible teacher Ray Vanderlyn. His semester-long course takes teens beyond fill-in-the-blank lessons to real-life applications application, helping them live out their faith with boldness and purpose. RVL Curriculum is flexible, parent-friendly, and deeply engaging because it's been designed to spark real conversations about faith between you and your teens. Right now, you guys can get 2 free sample lessons at rvlcurriculum.com/HSJ, plus 10% off when you purchase the curriculum with code Heidi10. You guys, discipleship matters. Let's raise our kids to become lifelong disciples of Jesus. Go to rvlcurriculum.com/HSJ today.